When you watch movies featuring early Stone Age people, they are usually depicted as cavemen who only carry clubs. While Stone Age tools were not as complex as what we find in later periods, they were more developed than just a big stick used to beat something. Using stone for tools is considered one of the earliest technological advancements in human history, and has a long and fascinating history. The earliest stone toolmaking developed by at least 3.3 million years ago at a site now known as Lemekwi III, in Kenya. These tools are primitive and look pretty much like rocks to the untrained eye. However, the angle and patterns on the rock's edges show repetitive strikes that could not have resulted from erosion or other natural processes. They are distinct enough that the researchers have given them a name: Lemekwian. These tools are also very large and heavy. Some of them are the size of bowling balls. It seemed like a lot for the hands of a primate that was probably half the size of the average modern human. Apparently, striking required holding the stone in two hands or resting the stone on an anvil when hitting it with a hammerstone. The sharp-edged flakes may have been used for breaking open nuts, tubers, or bashing open dead trees to get at insects inside. The next major leap forward originated at another site in Kenya about 2.9 million years ago. These are the oldest examples of a hugely important Stone Age innovation known to scientists as the Oldowan toolkit. They were made using what is known as freehand percussion, meaning the core was held in one hand and then repeatedly struck with a hammerstone held in the other hand to release sharp flakes. Despite their rough appearance, Oldowan tools became widespread throughout much of Africa. In particular, other early Oldowan tools are known from Algeria, Ethiopia and Kenya. Over time, the Oldowan toolkit spread even as far as modern-day Georgia and China. And it was not meaningfully replaced or amended. Most tools are simple choppers or scrapers, showing a high degree of skill in detaching a flake with a sharp edge. Oldowan technology gave access to new sources of food, including meat and bone marrow from large animals. Heavy-duty choppers could be used as axes for woodworking, and the first bone tools were used by early humans to dig in termite mounds. Oldowan tools continued to be made and used for more than 1 million years. However, the next broad leap forward was a more sophisticated technology arises: the Acheulean. The toolmakers used larger stones and chipped flakes off both sides, creating a new kind of tool called a handaxe. Handaxes did not have a traditional axe shape. They were made without a handle, and were held and used in the fist. Early handaxes were roughly made, while later ones are usually balanced and well finished, with straightened edges. Handaxes had a variety of different shapes, from circular to triangular, but most archaeological finds are teardrop-shaped handaxes. Their length ranges between 12 to 20 centimeters. But some of them were impractically large. The reason behind the creation of such massive handaxes remains uncertain. In addition, our hominin ancestors created handaxes from bone and ivory. Experts found the handaxe made from the femur of a hippopotamus in Ethiopia. Tool types found in Acheulean assemblages include not only handaxes, but also cleavers, scrapers, and picks with notched tips. The Acheulean industry was successful and very widespread. It is found not only throughout Africa. Samples have also been recovered in Europe, the Near East, and the Indian subcontinent. These handy stone tools could be used to butcher animals, cut plants, dig for edible roots, prepare animal hides, or cut up trees into smaller pieces of wood for building fires. The next leap forward in tool technology marks a shift away from the boundless popularity of the handaxes. Instead, the focus came to lie on the new chipped stone industry known as the Mousterian. One of the defining features of the Mousterian industry is the Levallois technique. This technique carefully prepares a coarse stone by shaping it into a specific form. Then, specialized flakes were skillfully removed from the designed core to create various tool types. Handaxes remained a persistent element of Mousterian industry. They are relatively small, well-made, and are triangular, sub-triangular, or cordate. The other major component of the Mousterian assemblage is scrapers. Note the large flake taken out for a thumb grip. There are many Neanderthal tools with this feature. In addition, the Mousterian toolkits included denticulates and stone awls, which could have been used to perforate hides. The Neanderthals living around 90,000 years ago were shaping the clamshells into sharp tools, and may have used pumice stones as abrading tools. The Mousterian industry is known for being an advancement in the technology of tool making, enabling to create hafted tools. During the late Paleolithic, the emphasis shifted away from stone to artifacts made from materials such as bone, ivory, and antler. Humans used bone and ivory needles like these to sew warm, closely fitted garments. This ivory baton is a tool for making rope. Bone tools made from kangaroo bone were present in the indigenous Australian toolkit. Aurignacians used not only bone, but also stone to create tools such as long blades. They were easier to use if they were hafted, or put on a handle. Denticulate tools probably were used for meat processing like small saws. Another key element of Aurignacian material culture is the burin, or engraving tool, that made much of the art possible. With this tool, the Aurignacians made some of the earliest representational artwork. The next major leap forward originated about 17,000 years ago. It was also a time when the climate varied dramatically, and humans may have needed more versatile and easily transportable tools. Magdalenian tool technology is best known for its small, sharp tools. These so-called microliths consisted of stone microblades made into crescents, triangles, or other geometric shapes. They were often attached to a wooden or bone shaft. The use of bone and ivory as implements increased, making the period essentially a bone period. Bone tools were often engraved with animal images. The Neolithic era brought about the most significant changes in stone tool technology. During this time, humans began to polish stone tools, making them sharper and more durable. Tools of stone helped the Neolithic farmer and stock rearer to cut his food, reap cereals, and cut hides. Larger tools provided adzes for tilling the earth, axes for the logging of trees, chisels for wood, bone and stone working. Tools of bone and deer antler were also widely used in all the phases of the Neolithic, for economic activities. Awls, spatulas, needles were tools essential in leather working, basketry, weaving and pottery. So, we have seen how Stone Age humans mastered the art of making hand tools. We might think of people in the Stone Age as primitive, but they were actually advanced for their time. Thank you for watching and see you next time.